All right. All right. Can you all see the slide?
Yes, I can, teacher.
All right. Thank you.
Yes, yes.
SPM
Yes, sir.
1119, paper 1 and 2. All right. Now I'm going to start the lesson. Kindly mute yourselves. Okay. So this lesson for the first day today will just be an introduction. Now, this is what you need to first be aware of. Okay. I'm sure you would have seen this. I'm sure you're quite familiar with this. Your SPM paper is divided into 4 papers. Okay. Paper 1, which is reading and use of English. Paper 2, writing. Paper 3, speaking. Paper 4, listening. Okay. Now, what you need to first understand is this. If you are a student who is not very eloquent, you can't speak very well, okay, you are not able to convey your thoughts in a spoken manner eloquently, but you are an excellent writer, you can write really well, you can produce very good essays, very imaginative, very productive, and your technicality towards English is quite good, very commendable. You could be getting an A+ if it was the previous way of assessment. Okay, but however, for you to get an A+, now you should be able to be technically efficient, whereby you are able to understand and fulfill the requirement of the question, memahami dan memenuhi kehendak soalan. You are able to write well, you are able to listen and interpret the information, and you are able to speak well. Remember that. You need to have all of this fairly well for you to excel in English paper. So to start off with, if anyone were to say, well, I am very reluctant to speak, if anyone were to ask me questions, I would just throw very vacant answers, then chances of you getting an A+ is less. You need to be able to speak properly, okay? And every skill, every criterion contributes 25%. If you were to look at the marks, I'm going to highlight only a few important things. Look at Jumla Marka, paper 1, which is reading and use of English, 40 marks. Paper 2, writing, 60 marks. Paper 3, speaking, 20 marks. Paper 4, listening, 30 marks. However, and also you should look at the timing as well. Tempo ujian. Timing, 1 hour 30 minutes for paper 1. 1 hour 30 minutes for paper 2. 12 minutes for paper 3. 40 minutes for paper 4. However, the weightage of each paper is 25%. So, however well you write, that is only 25%. However well you understand and fulfill the requirement of the question, that is only 25%. However good you are in your talking, that is 25%. However good you are in listening and interpreting the knowledge, 25%. So you need to be an all-rounder. You need to have a holistic development. Okay, that is what I would like to highlight here. Otherwise, I'm sure you are quite aware of all this. In case you are not aware, you should be aware, because this is what you're going to face somewhere in March next year. Okay. Should you have any questions, save it towards the end of the presentation. Now, highlights. Written tasks are divided into 2, which are reading and use of English, as well as writing. Now, for our focus for this episode of 12 lessons, I'm only going to focus on reading and use of English as well as writing. All right? Or these two papers only contribute 50% of the total marks. The other 50 is speaking and listening. Okay? The focus for this episode of lessons that I've prepared for you would only be on reading and use of English as well as writing. Okay. Every skill carries equal share and emphasis. So what we are focusing now is the holistic development and enrichment. We are not preparing those who could just merely write and are unable to speak. Okay, so that you need to bear in your mind. Now, paper 1, reading and use of English, time 1 hour 30 minutes, 40 questions, 5 parts, 40 marks, mostly objective, except for the last part, which is information transfer. But when you see the word mostly objective, do not be too complacent. Do not think, well, it's all ABC, I can just breeze through. No. Never. It is not that easy. It is not that easy. Now, I will prove to you why it is not easy in the days to come, and you will testify, you will attest to the fact that I said. Now, part 1, multiple choice question. 8 short materials and text, 3 options, multiple choice questions. Materials are less than 90 words. Okay, materials are less than 90 words. Okay. Now you need to remember these particular questions are not easier. We have a lot of K-bar elements in this. In the days to come, you will know. Okay, I will prove to you. We will be doing this tomorrow. Okay, we'll be doing this as in multiple choice question part 1 tomorrow. I've dissected the lessons in 2 parts. All right, so this one we'll be doing tomorrow. All right, now next, part 2, also multiple choice questions, rational close. Okay, rational close. No, when we talk about rational close, the text that is used for this particular set or question would be an extended text, which is as long as 250 to 300 words. 250 to 300 words. Okay, 10 questions. There are 10 questions and 4 options for the answer. You have 4 options. It tests on grammatical components, subject-verb agreement, and vocabulary. Now, when we talk about grammatical components, how many parts of speech are there? Can anyone answer? Parts of speech, how many are there?
3.
Parts of speech, 3? No. There are 8 parts of speech. Okay, if I give you the first one, you'll be able to tell me the rest. The first one is noun. So what are the rest?
Verbs.
Verb, then
Adverb.
adverb,
Conjunction.
conjunction,
Adjective. Pronoun.
adjective,
Pronoun.
pronoun, pronoun. 2 more.
Article.
No, article is not part of parts of speech.
Grammar, sir.
Grammar is
Punctuation. Vocabulary.
punctuation is not part of speech. Punctuation is not even grammar. Something to show place.
Noun.
No, something to show a place.
Verb.
Something to indicate a position. I just gave you a clue now. Something to indicate the position.
Preposition.
Very good. Preposition. And the last one is interjection. So listen, noun, verb, pronoun, adverb, adjective, preposition, conjunction, interjection. Okay, so these are parts of speech. Besides that, we have modals, we have articles, we have tenses. And how many tenses are there? You may count for yourself. I would just give it. No, not three, not three. There are many. Primarily three, but there are many divisions which you need to know. I'll just say it now. You may count. Simple past tense, past continuous, past perfect continuous, simple present, present continuous, present perfect continuous, simple future, future continuous, future perfect continuous, past participle, present participle, perfect participle. There are 15, huh?
15.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So you need to know all this. Never mind, you don't need to know all this, otherwise you'll go crazy. But I do know all this, and all this would be a verb would be influenced by all these tenses, because verbs are confined to tenses, time. They change, isn't it? Actions change according to time. Okay, whereas noun doesn't. Okay, and then we have subject-verb agreement, which is also a very serious problem most of the time. For example, if it is a present time, I go, you go, she goes, he goes, we go, they go, it goes. If it's in the past, it changes from the simple and the continuous tense. I went, she went, I was going, she was going, they were going, you were going, and things like that. These are all parts that will be tested in rational close. And we also have vocabulary. All right. So all these are tested in rational close. Moving on. Part 3, extended text. This text is a longer text, 650 to 700 words. Here, the texts are complex in terms of the language because they are mostly authentic. Okay, like I have written a couple of books. I've written a couple of books for some university. The University Pendidikan Sultan Idris have just completed writing 2 books for them for English. I've also written books on my own. In the future, I'll introduce them to you in case you're interested to buy workbooks. So the text that we use to prepare those books, the text that I use, they're primarily authentic text. So the language will be complex. Okay, questions require thorough understanding of the task. Remember this, the questions are not easy. You will face them. In the classes to come, we will discuss the question and you will see what I mean by that. All right. Okay, moving on. Part 4, gapped text. It's basically an informative or a descriptive text where there is continuity. 6 sentences are removed. Additional 2 sentences are added to the already 6 removed sentences to confuse the candidates. So all you've got to do is 6 sentences are taken out and they're jumbled and they're added together with 2 sentences. You need to fit the correct sentence in the correct position, and you have to complete the text appropriately. So once you've done completing the gap text, you should be able to read the text and get a holistic idea. If it does not fit, then you need to probably make some adjustment until it feels right, until it is right. So this is not an easy task either. Part 5, information transfer. This you'd have been doing since Form 1. 8 subjective questions, various input type. The text is more or less more than 350 words. That is all for paper 1. Moving on to paper 2, writing. Okay, the timing is 1 hour and 30 minutes. There are 3 parts. So basically, you need to come up with 3 essays within 1 hour and 30 minutes. The previous SPM, you need to come up with 2 essays. Okay, but the time given was 1 hour and 45 minutes. Now, more essays, less time, which is exactly why you will have to somehow abide by the given word limit. Okay. Marking will be based on 4 criteria: content, communicative achievement, organization, and language. So the band confinement is from A1 to C1. What is A1 and what is C1? We'll see. Look at this. This is band confinement. We will grade you according to this. For band A1 to A2, the description is, there are a lot of descriptions which we are not going to go in detail. But basically what you need to understand is, if your English falls under the category of A1 or A2, it means you are a basic user. If your English falls between B1 and B2, you are an independent user. Okay? If your English falls into the category of C1 and C2, you are a proficient user. When you hit the level of C2, you are as good as teachers. Your English is extremely proficient. Okay, let's see. Now, part 1, short communicative essay. It's primarily an email. It's in about 20 words. So it's 20 marks. Okay, as I told you earlier, all the essays will be graded accordingly, and all the marks are 20. However long, however short the essay, the mark for the essays is 20 marks. Okay, and these 20 marks are divided into 4 categories or 4 criteria: content, communicative achievement, organization, language. So the primary focus of this particular task is the fulfillment of the requirements of the question. Ini cikgu selalu tekankan. I always reiterate over this singular thing. Fulfill the requirements of the question. However good you write, if you don't fulfill the requirement of the question, if you swerve from the requirement of the question, you fail to address the necessity of the question, you fail. Okay, the mark confinement or the range confinement for this particular essay is A1 to B1. Okay, and you know what is A1 to B1, right? You can see it here. It is probably basic user to independent user of some sort. Now, next, guided essay. It is based on an outcome of a discussion. Basically, you will have a discussion in the classroom and your teacher would ask you to write about something based on the discussion. So it works in 2 ways. It is an outcome of a discussion plus your personal opinion. How do we go about addressing it properly? Do not worry, in the days to come, I will teach you. Every single part we will go in detail with examples of authentic questions and sample answers. For your information, your lessons are all ready. I've prepared all 12 lessons. Okay, in PowerPoint and Word. Okay, now do not worry. If you follow me for all the 12 lessons, you will be able to learn all these. Okay, the word would be 125 to 150 words. That's your word limit. 20 marks. It is based on opinion over a matter teacher instructs to write. And the range for your band English assessment would be A2 to B2. So you know you are a strong basic user to an independent user. Third one, extended writing. You'll be given 3 choices. Those 3 choices would be an article, a review, a report, or a story. The word limit is 200 to 250 words. All right. Okay, so here, look at the language. The band descriptor would be from B1 to C1, which means you start from independent user to a proficient user. So if you want to get a C1, which means you want to get all 5 marks, you need to be a proficient user. You need to be a proficient user of English. Okay? So do not go back to your teacher and say, why did I get a higher mark for short communicative essay, but I did not get a higher mark for extended essay? Because the grading for your short communicative essay is way much lower. Extended writing, if you want to get a higher mark, it has to be really, really good. So for us to, or for you to decide if you are an excellent writer, you need to refer to your extended writing. All right, now, We'll look at a sample. This is the sample that the Lembaga, oh dear, the Lembaga has given. Oh, I can't open a sample. Give me a second. Just give me a second. All right, I'll show you a sample. Okay, now look at this one. Paper 1, questions 1 to 8. You see, there are questions and a text. So there are 3 options, and look at the options and look at the style of the question. Based on the notice above, which of the following statements is true? So you need to really read it, analyze it, understand it thoroughly for you to be able to answer the question. And they're not very easy, huh? They're not very easy. I will probably go with this one, something that's simpler. Now look at this. The Instagram profile above would most likely be related to sales, business, education. If you were to look at this, what is it?
Related to.
Is it sales or business? Education, definitely not. So the option is between sales and business. Is it sales or business?
Business, sir.
Say
Business,
Huh?
sir.
business.
Well, you may say business, but the most appropriate answer is sales, because it says marketing. Marketing means sales. Marketing agency, global digital agency, intelligent demand and revenue solution, marketing quotes. Marketing is sales. These are the types of questions that you'll be facing. The options may be very similar, so you need to choose the most appropriate one. This is just one example to the many that we are going to discuss in the days to come. Okay, now moving on. This is part 2, whereby you'll have a text, rational close, and you have options to choose from. Okay, now third part, you have a text. Now look at this text. This is about the Bermuda Triangle. Okay, the Bermuda Triangle, the Devil's Triangle, and then you have questions that follow. And then you have part 4, whereby you have text which is longer than PD3. If at all you have seen PD3 question, this is longer, and you have sentences removed, and the sentences are listed here. So you have got to read this thoroughly, read this again, and you need to be able to put them in and try to fit in, and you need to see if it makes sense. If it doesn't make sense, then you need to adjust until it makes sense and you see the flow. Okay, and then this is part 5. So when we talk about part 5, we have see, this is on vaccines, COVID-19 vaccines, and then we have questions. Okay, now moving on to paper 2. The first one, short communicative message, something very similar to PD3. You have a question, you have an email from someone. Now you need to understand what is required, and you need to write an email in about 80 words. And then the second part would be, you have a question. Your class has been discussing on the vaccination of COVID-19, so there's a discussion that's going on. So your teacher has asked you to write write on the importance of vaccination. So here in your essay, you should write about priority group to be vaccinated, the benefits of the vaccination, your personal recommendation. So it is a balance between It is a balance between your personal opinion, your knowledge, and also the outcome of the discussion. And then we move on to the last part where you have 3 questions. Question 3, 4, 5. You need to choose one. Now you look at the first one, this is a review. Second one, this is an article. Third one, this is a story. So you need to you need to choose the most appropriate one, the most suitable one for you. Okay, so that is pretty much it for the introductory lesson. In the days to come, we will go through every section. Tomorrow, we will be focusing on multiple choice question, the first part. Okay, we'll be focusing on the first part. Now, students, do you have any questions before I would end the session? Have you got any questions to ask?
No, sir.
No, sir.
So this
No,
is just
sir.
an introductory
No, sir.
introductory